What's going on, guys? This is Berz. I'm here to talk to you today about the Nemo Galaxi 2P tent. I've been using this for about 6 to 8 months now. Had it on about 4 trips, 2 camping, 2 outdoors, and I really come to like this tent. And I also like the fact that they use natural colors for their tents, which a lot of companies don't. They use bright colors, so I'm glad they actually make this in a neutral color as well. Now the specs for this, it's coming in at 5 pounds and 8 ounces as far as the total packed weight. You can obviously take that down if you're just going to use the rain fly and the footprint. The cool thing about this tent is it comes with a footprint, so you don't have to buy one separately. So a lot of times companies won't include that with their tents, so you have to spend another $40, $50 on a footprint. What the footprint is basically just a tarp that goes underneath. It's made by the company and it's made specifically for the foot plan of the tent. I'm a huge fan of breathability, and as you can see, the whole top of this tent is basically open. So this is a great summer tent, and it's even a great winter tent. A lot of people will get kind of caught up in winter camping with, oh my gosh, there's a lot of mesh here, and that's an issue. It really isn't, because what you want to do is cut down on condensation. You want breathability, and the rainfly is going to take care of all that wind and everything. So the fact that this is actually mostly an open design, I like even for winter camping. Let's talk about how fast it is to set up. You know, tents nowadays, for the most part, are really easy and quick to set up. I haven't come across many tents, at least in the recent maybe like 5 years or so, that have been really super difficult to set up. This one's no exception, with the fact that it has one hub at the top with all the poles connected. As far as putting it together, how long it takes, you know, it takes maybe 2 minutes to 3 minutes if you're slow like myself. So, you know, 3 minutes, you got this tent up. You take the rain fly, put it over top if you need that, and that's another probably minute to do. So as far as the design of the tent, the one thing that they do here, and a lot of companies are doing nowadays, is they pull the tent out to make it feel wider. And the way they do that is they have a pole going from the front to the back. You hook it on the front, and it pulls the width of the tent out. So a lot of tents, you know, a few years ago and before, they felt a little narrow because they didn't do this. This is something a lot of companies are doing nowadays. So you just clip that on, it's hooked on, and that's gonna, you know, bring the tent out to the pole. As you can see, there is a lot of area from the tent body, the mesh, to the pole, and it's probably a good 4 inches to 5 inches. And the great thing about that is it gives that breathability I talk about. So when you put the fly over top, that's the amount of room it's going to be between the fly and your tent mesh. So that's great. A lot of companies will get kind of close on that, and they'll kind of have a crappy tent. You know, not the case here with this Nemo. As you can see on the bottom here, it has a bathtub design. What does that mean? That basically means that at the bottom of the tent here, you have almost probably about 10 inches of nylon material that goes around the whole thing. So, you know, with weather and rain and wet, you know, weather, all that stuff, you're not going to have that come into the tent because it kind of comes up over the edges. A lot of companies are doing that today as well. You know, this is basically a standard tent. The difference you're going to get with Nemo is the small things you don't get with other companies. Given the fact of their performance with the way they put stuff together, their quality, you're going to get good materials. You have aluminum poles, and the stitching is, you know, top notch as far as the construction of the tent. So you're going to get lots of life out of this tent. As far as the design of the doors and such go, there is an interesting design in that it has 2 separate zippers. So that zipper will not come all the way down here. You can see that it's kind of like a triangle here. So kind of take this off, then you have your opening to your inside of the tent. They have a holder here for the mesh, which you kind of roll this up, and it's magnetic, so you just kind of wrap it around like this, put it on the other side, and it'll hold the material there for you. And that's more so for like winter camping. You just definitely don't want this open if you're in a environment like this during the summer, but you know, you can do that to keep open the door. So it is a V door. You have 2 zippers. I haven't had any problems with the zippers. You know, they're top notch. I'm not sure if they're YKK, but they are good quality zippers. They have some pulls on here. You have an opening on both sides, so you have a vestibule on the front and the back. All right, so let's take a look at the interior of the tent here. You have 40 inches high, and you know, getting in the tent easy. As you can see here, I got a pad here, and this is the long and wide pad, so you can see just how long and wide this is. You have 90 inches long, and you have 54 inches wide. You know, it's great for 2 people. Obviously, it's going to be a tight fit in pretty much any 2-person tent. So you're just going to have to expect that. If you don't want that, get a 3-person tent and then, you know, pack in separately or pack in together. As you can see, I can kind of sit up here with this 40 inches. I can sit up, I have no problems. Everything's pulled out to the sides, as you can see. There's a spider right here. But as you can see here, you know, with this being pulled out, you know, I have a little bit of extra room over here where I can go. Mesh all around. There's this really cool thing right here where you have some white fabric right here, and if you put your headlamp or whatever on this hook right here, it'll actually reflect down almost kind of like a light in your house would. So that's pretty cool. There's just a little bit of material here and it's white on the inside. So I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. Go ahead and lay down, give you an idea of how much room you have. If I'm laying down here, you can see, you know, plenty of room, particularly if you're one person. If there's somebody else on this side, there's plenty of room for them. Maybe not to move around, but if it's in wintertime, you want to be close to the person. Even if it's a guy and you're a guy, you want to be close, you want to be warm. So the cool thing about this design and designs like it where they have both sides open is if, with a vestibule on each side, is if you're hiking with someone or, you know, backpacking, you can get to your stuff over here and then they can get to their stuff over there. If you gotta use the bathroom at night or use the outdoors at night, you can get out over here. You're not bothering the person over here. So I like this design. The doors are relatively, you know, big, so you don't have to, you know, make a lot of noise. The zippers themselves really aren't super loud compared to some zippers on the market with other tents. So they do have relatively quiet zippers. You have an area right here on this side and one on this side where you can put some material. You're probably looking at about 18 inches by 10 inches as far as a little pocket to put stuff here. So now let's take a look at the Rainfly. The Rainfly is made of 7 denier material. The floor is made of a 68 denier. Like I said, this is a 70 denier material. It's a ripstop material. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on. All right, so here it is with the Rainfly on. Like I said, this is that 70 denier material. I have this in brown, and that's the one thing I want to talk about is, you know, I like the fact they have neutral colors. You can see from the picture I'm going to take here and roll in that you can barely see this thing during the fall. Definitely not during the winter. You know, blends in relatively well, and that's the kind of stuff I like. You know, I don't like loud colors. But as you can see here, you know, lots of ventilation. Here's the vestibule. I'll go ahead and take this off here, and I'll show you the ventilation option. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead, zip that back down. Inside of here is a little door handle thing that you can take the other zipper, pull that down, and then you take this little pole and you have a little ventilation option right there. I've had this in some rainy conditions, didn't have any problems with it as far as, you know, leaking or anything like that. You can see from the stitching, you know, this is exceptional work by Nemo. They do have on the side here the Nemo logo, and you know, there is enough room. You can see on this cut down below, it isn't a straight cut. It's a slight bit of an angle onto the cut up, almost like a very slight C cut, and that definitely leaves some ventilation in there, and I like that. On the sides here, I don't have it vented out right now. I don't have a, you know, cord on it, but you know, it has ties on each side of the tent here, and you can pull this thing out pretty far. I've taken some video in the past of how much ventilation it lets in. You can really get this thing taut. I haven't had any problems with wind or anything like that. So you can really bear down on this and get it nice and taut. So one thing I did come up against that I think can be improved upon is where the connection is for the fly down to the tent. You know, in other designs I see like a buckle right here or something like that. On this design, you have this as a part of, you know, the grommet's going to be a part of the tent pole. And obviously I don't have it on correctly because I'm lazy, but you know, I think if they were to do where they had a buckle already on here and they just had a buckle up here or on this piece right here, you buckle it in and cinch it down, it would make it a lot quicker and I think it, you know, in the long run it would just be a better design. Other than that, I really have found nothing that I don't like about this tent. And that's really something that's maybe even personal preference. It might not be even I mean, it's not a problem, obviously. I just think it would make for a better and easier, you know, design and putting it together and all that. But like I said, besides that, you know, everything else is great. The poles have been great. The pack weight's okay at 5 pounds, 8 ounces, but you know, if you're doing a 2-person trip, you just split the poles and the tent up, and it's not that big a deal. So in closing, I definitely like this tent a lot. You know, I've always talked about Marmot tents as being, you know, the top-notch tents on the market. I still believe that. I think the Nemo is right there with the Marmot based on the Stormlight 2P by Marmot I reviewed probably about 6 months ago. You know, this is no exception. It's right there with the Marmot. The only thing the Marmot had over this was the easy connection for the Rainfly, but you know, neither here nor there. For the Marmot, I actually had to buy a floor footprint, so you know, that's kind of a positive here for the Nemo that it already comes with one. So if you're looking for a 2P tent, you know, something that's gonna get you through years of use, I definitely think this Nemo Galaxi 2P is something you should take a look at. I'll put a link down below to the site, manufacturer's site, so you can get a gander at it. And if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and let me know. If you guys have used any Nemo stuff, go ahead and put it in the comments down below, or better yet, make a video about it. Until next time, later. I'll do that again. The one thing I wasn't really... So